Hello guys, so in this video we are going to discuss one of the important topic of the environmental law, that is the Water Pollution Act of 1974. Let's first see the synopsis of this act. The first one will be the introduction, the second one will be the definition, then the objectives, agencies, compositions, functions, joint board, disqualification of members, meetings of board, powers of board, and the last one will be the conclusion. So, the starting with the introduction, water is a basic need for the survival of human being and is a part of right to life. As we all know that the water is a basic necessity and nobody can live without a water. The Water Pollution Act came to the force in 1974. We have case law, that is the state of Orissa versus the government of India. So in this case, the justice opined that the right to get water is a part of life guaranteed by the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, and it is a gift of nature. So this case gives a support to the introductory part, as this case states that it is the right of each and every individual to get the water as guaranteed by the Article 21. The Article 21 of the Indian Constitution deals with right to life. So the right to life also includes the right to get a water. Then we'll next see the definition of water pollution, that is section 2 of this act. So it states that any contamination of water or the alteration of a physical, chemical and the biological property of water, or disposing of any sewage waste in the water which is likely to cause nuisance or harmful to the public health. So basically this definition says that when the water is not in a proper state to use, when the properties of the water have been mixed with something which is toxic in nature, okay, and where the water cannot be used for any kind of a purpose, that is called the water pollution. So let's see the objectives of this act. So obviously the first objective will be to prevent and control the water pollution. The second objective is to set up boards. The third objective is to impose penalties. And the fourth objective is to establish labs. So as we all know that the one of the objectives of this act is to establish boards or the set up boards. So there are two boards. That is the Central Pollution Control Board, and the second one is the State Pollution Control Board. So let's see the composition of the Central Pollution Control Board. It is the only board that is situated in Delhi. It is headed by the chairperson who is expert in this field. The 5 officials nominated by the central government, 5 maximum members, out of which the 3 from the state board and the 2 from the local authorities, the 3 non-officials nominated by the central government from the agriculture, fishing and industry, 1 full-time member secretary, and the 2 person nominated from the company owned, controlled and maintained by the central government. Now let's see the composition of the state board. The composition of the state board and the central board is quite a similar one, but there are a little bit of differences. The difference is that the state board, the appointment of the members are by the state government, and the appointment of the central board is by the state central government. Talking about the composition of the state board, it is headed by the chairperson, the member secretary appointed by the central government. Here the only difference is that the secretary is appointed by the central government under the state board, okay? And the 5 members appointed by the state government, the 2 members from the company owned, controlled and managed by the state government. Now let's see the functions of the central board. The first function of the central board is to advise the central government on any matter concerning the prevention and the control of the water pollution. The second one is to provide a technical assistance and a guidance to the state board. The third function of the central board is to plan and organize the training program in controlling and preventing the water pollution. And the last function is to resolve the dispute among the states. So these are the 4 main functions of the central board, and this is deal under the section 16 of this act. Now let's see the function of the state board, that is section 17. The first function of the state board is to advise the state government on the any matter concerning the prevention and the control of the water pollution. The second one is to plan and organize the training program in collaboration with the central board. And the third one is to set up a laboratories to enable the board to perform the function effectively. So these are 3 main functions of the state board. Now let's see the joint board, that is under the section 14 of this act. So when the 2 states can enter into an agreement by a joint board. So when the 2 states want to enter into an agreement on the matter of the water pollution or the any matter concerned to the water pollution, they can enter into it by the joint board. Also, the central government and the government of the union territories can also enter into an agreement by joint board. So, the central government and the union territories government can also be entered by the joint board. Now we'll see the meetings of the board. So 3 meetings in a year is a mandatory. So it is compulsory for the board to conduct 3 meetings in a year. So according to the section 8, in every 3 months, the board has to conduct a meeting and review all the laws and orders implemented by it. Now let's see the powers of the board. So the first power is to power to give direction. The central government shall have the power to direct the central board. Okay, so in any matter related to the water pollution or the any issue related to water pollution, it is the central government who directs the central board to take a action or to look into that matter. Similarly, it is the state government to give a direction to the state board in matters related to the water pollution. The second power is to power to obtain information, right? So this power states that any information regarding to the water pollution, like how much the water is altered or how much the water is contaminated, like what is mixed into the water which made it toxic or which made it harmful to the public health, all this information has to be obtained. The third power is to power to take sample. Again, this power says that all the sample of water has to be collected in order to inspect the level of contaminated water. This is similar to the second power. So the fourth power is to report the result of analysis of a sample. Okay. So after the samples have been analyzed, the result of the analysis has to be reported. So again, this is the fourth power, and once the sample have been collected, it has been checked, analyzed, the report of the result has to be prepared and it has to be submitted. The fifth function is the power to enter and inspect, right? So it is one of the major power of the boards to enter and inspect. So until and unless there is a higher authority, the lower subordinate authorities are not going to work in a proper way or in a correct way, right? So these boards are the higher authorities who enter and inspect the work given to the subordinate authorities, so that the everything is going in a proper way and everything is getting checked. So there is one case law, that is the Foundation for Science versus the Union of India. So in this case, it was held that there is a need for the appointment of a monitoring committee to examine the person who has been appointed or nominated to check the pollution control board whether they meet the statutory norms or not. So basically, this case deals with there is a need for the appointment of the monitoring committee, okay, which is required to examine the person who has been appointed to check the function of the board. So now let's see what are the disqualification to become the members of the board. The first comes is the person of an unsound mind. It is obvious, right? If a person is of an unsound mind, he cannot become the member of a company. He cannot become a member of anything. Similarly, he cannot become the member of the board also. Second circumstances is that if a person holds any office of profit. So in this case, if a person holds any office of a profit, he cannot become the members of the board. He will be ultimately disqualified to become the member of the board. And the third disqualification is that if a member has misused the powers, okay, so if the person has misused the powers, then he will be ultimately struck off from his position and he may no longer be a member of the board. So now we'll discuss some of the important cases which are related to this topic. So this is the third case law, that is the MC Mehta versus the Union of India. This is 1988 case. So in this case, what had happened is that the tanneries were located near the river Ganga, were discharging their untreated effluent into the river, and the bodies were the dead bodies and also the half-burned bodies were also thrown into the river, and also the water supply and the sanitary conditions was inadequate. So in this case, the Supreme Court observed that the river Ganga's water is highly toxic. So the Supreme Court ordered the tanneries to stop it. So we'll see one more case law. This is a landmark case, that is the Vellore Citizen Welfare Forum versus the Union of India. So this is a landmark case in maintaining the harmony between the environment and the development. In this case, the petition was filed against the pollution which was caused by the discharge of untreated effluent by the tanneries and the other industries into the agricultural field, roadside, waterways, and into the rivers, which is the source of water supply to the resident of the area. So the Supreme Court ordered these tanneries and the industries to stop. So now coming to the conclusion part of it, as we all know that the India is a highly populated country and the water pollution is a big issue in India. This act provides various agencies that will look into the matters related to the water, and also it will prevent and control the water pollution. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and also subscribe to my channel, as I am going to deal with all aspect of laws in a very simple and in an easy language. Hope you found this video easy to understand, and I also hope that the Water Pollution Act is clear to you. See you in the next interesting video.